Hey, Honey Wash Day. This is Toksa Hour, and I am Maggie Ross. I am live from Porcupine, South Dakota, or along Porcupine Creek where the porcupines roam. Well, a little bit late start. I was getting carried away with my research. I've I've been obsessed. Why? I don't know, but yay! I found my rainbow cup, so I'm excited about that. The rainbow cup is back. My keffiyeh, I usually wear my keffiyeh. My keffiyeh is in the back seat of my mom's car because I took her to the hospital on Friday. I mean, to her doctor's appointments. So, anyways, that's where my keffiyeh is. I realized that as I was walking around this morning, like, oh, so I'll have to go fetch that from her. And yeah, so it's been a really busy week for me. I have, let's see, what have I done? My granddaughter, my middle granddaughter, turned 12. So that was Thursday. I was cooking up a storm Thursday, fry bread. She wanted Indian tacos, so that's what we did. Indian tacos for her. She had a couple friends over and she wanted to celebrate at her cheese house, her own cheese house. So that's where we went and we lit the candles up and it was a good time. I was extremely exhausted. Whew. But that's behind. My oldest granddaughter, her birthday's coming up at the end of the month, so she hasn't said yet what she wants cooked or anything. And I've always just like before, I used to do this thing where I'd like have a big dinner or like for them. And when my daughter was growing up, and my nephews and nieces as siblings, we would get together and we would have like a big party. We'd have like September birthday party, October birthday. So everybody who is having their birthday at that time, we would just have one great big event and then we'd all go. And the pandemic kind of changed me a lot, but I always want to make sure that I'm cooking for them on their birthday and that they have some cake and ice cream. It's always my thing. So I always try to do that for them, have cake and ice cream and, get all of that rolling for them. Oh, sometimes I say I'm getting too old for this. I have to pass down get my daughter on that dough recipe and so she can do it herself. But actually, I kind of like doing it. I think I get that from my mom and my grandma, being the cooker. Like I like to cook for people. I like to cook big dinners as well. I like to cook for a lot of people. And that kind of made me think about like in Palestine, watching those people, they have these great big pots and stuff and how they feed the people. And I've been thinking about that here. So I don't know, I might quit my job and just be a cook for people and just somehow provide food. A lot of times we'll say, well, they get SNAP or they get this or they get that. And there's a lot of things going on in our economy that affects them. And so I think that's like really important to be thinking for me anyways. Like I want to do something, but then again, I'm people are so toxic these days. Like I don't know if I want to get around like leadership people or anything like that because they're so toxic and they're so judgmental and they're so wonderful. And yeah. And then it becomes the crabs in the bucket, they call it, like, oh, who is she to be doing that? That's how I always got myself in trouble, I guess, because I always just did things to help people. My whole family was like that, we just did things to help people because we know what it's like to have nothing and to be without a home. We know what it's like to be without food. We know what it's like to just be trying to get by on a very, very limited amount of money. And so we know that. And so we try to help where we can with what we can. Anyways, So that was my week. I mean, it was filled with meetings. Oh my goodness, I was back to 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 back with meetings. I was so exhausted yesterday. I was so exhausted. I started my laundry, doing some laundry, and then I just was so tired. I didn't know if it was sinuses or what because of the seasonal changing. So it felt like my eyes wouldn't open, like they're just all swollen shut, even though they were open because I could see. Anyways, so that kind of happened, and I was really tired, and yeah, I was really tired. So I slept, and then this morning I got up and I started in, and Juana, here it is, Toksa Hour time. It's always a good time for Toksa Hour. That's what I say. Anyways. Is it lies? I don't know. Hey, good morning, Joe Puyam. I haven't heard from you in a very, very long time. So don't forget to like and to share and to comment. That's what kind of gets this all going. I'm slowly growing. We're in a slow grow on YouTube. This is a slower growth than my growth on TikTok. On TikTok, I'm almost to 8,000 followers now. But here I'm at 42. So if you can share, you can. I think you can share YouTube videos on any platform. So please do that. I'd appreciate it. I will say though, I am gaining followers on Substack. So I have a Substack account. It's called Maggie Ross at Red Flower. I have that going, and that seems to be picking up some traction. I do some writing there. I post the Toksa Hour there, and then again, TikTok, you can't really post YouTube videos, so you always have to cut your YouTube videos up, and yeah, I don't have time for that. I have too many irons in the fire, in the oven or the stove, whatever that saying is. That's me right now. Oh goodness. So let's get to it. I've been, man, those rabbit holes are vicious, right? You get going down them, there ain't no coming out for a very long time anyway. So, September 10th, on September 10th, I believe it was September 10th, a guy by the name of Charlie Kirk was assassinated at a speech. He does these campus tours where he debates with college students about things, and he was assassinated in Utah at a college event. And it's very interesting. Like, I've been watching all the Private Eye, undercover expert of still shots, watching, like where they're showing like the people behind him. Like, it looks like they're giving military signals about sniper, whatever. There's two guys behind him, and the one that I think he's in a black shirt and black sunglasses is actually one of the Secret Servicemen that was there when Trump got shot in the ear. Remember? He was one of those guys. So why that guy is on Charlie Fuentes, or not Charlie Kirk? I mean Charlie Kirk's security team, or if he was on the security team or whatever. But anyway, so there's that, and then there's a guy that they show that's a little to the front side of him, of Charlie Kirk, as he's talking, and he does this kind of thing, and you can see, and it looks like he's got a handgun or whatever, a pistol maybe under his arm, and then it looks like he gets shot here, and then maybe it comes out of his neck, not an entry in. It comes out of his neck, and then he dies. That's graphic. I'm sorry. I didn't want to show any of that stuff because I guess everybody's hot on it. You say Charlie Kirk's name and you talk bad about him or anything about him, the whole alt-right is on fire, and they're marching around and they're taking all this information and giving it to bosses and saying, you better fire these people, and there's a mandatory termination on people talking about this. So we'll see what happens to Maggie Ross. Anyways, so there's two things that happened on that day. So he is assassinated on a college campus. Right away, Donald Trump comes out. Bibi Netanyahu is the first to tweet his condolences about Charlie Kirk's death. And then both tweets are at 3:02 p.m. So there's Netanyahu and then there's Trump. Both of them say condolences or whatever or that he was assassinated. And then Trump's all enraged and blames the left. It's the left's fault, and they're waging war on the left. So that was like, what, 2-3 days? Everybody's mad. Half mask, flying flags, half mask for Charlie Kirk, who is he wasn't a political figure. I mean, he did college campus tours, debated people. He was a part of the alt-right. He led the Turning Point USA, I think it's called. It was a youth movement, over 1 million of youth people, maybe more than 1 million, maybe billion. I can't remember the numbers. Anyways, the rabbit holes that I were in. So Charlie Kirk was a part of that whole thing, alt-right, and so that was the thing. They blamed. So the first guy they arrested turned out to be a man that for some odd reason was at all these odd different kind of events, but he is a alt-right pro-Zionist. I think he's a pro-Zionist guy. And then they arrest another one, but they all show to be like affiliated, like it's not the story they want. So those guys are let go. And then they get this Tyler Robinson. And what does it come out? This is just amazing. So if you guys are on Substack, I was watching, let's see, you can watch the breakdown. The series from Allison Gill is One of Us, Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk, and MAGA's Groyper Problem. That's in Substack. So I was watching that. And in that, they talk about Tyler Robinson being a Groyper. And Groypers are... Groypers are like this far right. They're decentralized white. It's a decentralized white national movement. It's connected to Steve Bannon and to Milo, and I don't know how to say his last name. Yiannopoulos. And so the Groypers kind of start in around 2017. They have like symbolism, or what do you call that, like branding of Pepe the Frog. So they are on TikTok, YouTube, Discord, and Telegram. That's where you'll find them and their movement. They are affiliated also with Nick Fuentes. And these guys don't like Charlie Kirk because they think that he is too pro-Israel. These guys are what they would label anti-Semitic. They believe that the Holocaust they're Holocaust deniers or whatever. And they're very, very, they believe that they are the America first original people, and they are white nationalists and all of that. So that's who they are. And they're affiliated with Steve Bannon. And you know who Steve Bannon is? Yeah, he's Donald Trump. Anyway, so what they started to do, the Groypers, they're online gamers. And so that's how Steve Bannon became interested in them when he met Milo Yiannopoulos. Anyways, when he met them and met him in 2017, he saw the capability and the power or whatever that this kid had in regards to the youth. And so you need to control the youth. And so that's what they do. And they're very decentralized. So, like, you can't really necessarily say that they're affiliated with this person or this, like they're in their groups because they're very decentralized. And their whole goal is to dismantle power from people of color. Like, they are very, very white nationalists. They're white supremacists. And they desensitize people and they blame. So one of the things that they will say to people is why, like blaming government and blaming people of color for why white people are not succeeding. And one of the things I had heard say that allegedly they say, why do you make fun of someone? Why do you live in your mom's basement or your grandma's basement? Like, you're a deadbeat. And they run them down like that. And then they say, it's not your fault. You can't get anywhere or do anything in life because of, and then they blame, white feminism. They blame people of color. They blame the LGBTQ2 movement. They blame everybody. And so they're young kids, and they're getting fed this through online gaming. And so as they get fed this, then it starts to desensitize them, and it starts to, get them in line with what they're saying. So it's a mind control game that they're doing. So that's the Groypers. And so the Groypers are allegedly a part Tyler Robertson is allegedly a part of the Groypers, and the Groypers do not like Charlie Kirk. They do not like him. They talk about Christian values, all of that. So it comes out, Tyler Robinson, he is one of them. He is a MAGA supporter. It is shown that last year he dressed as Donald Trump. He does a lot of things in regards to that. They first try to put him off as like he's gay, or he fell off. He got liberalized at college. But what is happening at college is not liberalization. It is the other thing, that's happening. The alt-right is got control of the colleges, and so they're doing that. But all of this stuff happens through the Groypers way before they're going to college. So remember, like, when all the gang violence and stuff, and they say, where's those black mothers, those African American mothers, where are they, and why don't they have so now we can say that about, well, where are these white women? Where are they with their children? Where are these white mothers? Why are their children a part of this Groyper movement? And why are they alt-right? And why are they destined to become terrorists? Anyways, so Nick Fuentes is widely known as the founder of the American First Movement, and he talks about that quite a bit. Yesterday, I was watching Nick Fuentes on YouTube. I got through 30 minutes of it, and it was like an hour and a half long YouTube video. I got 30 minutes. Like, you could see how they do it. So if you know mind control, go listen to him. You listen to what he's doing and what he's saying, and he does it in a very repetitive way. So he's planting seeds, planting seeds, planting seeds, planting seeds. And then he'll kind of say something like, yeah. So I was listening to him, and I was thinking, this is really interesting. So he's calling for nonviolence. He says he is nonviolent. But Charlie Fuentes was at Charlottesville. Remember when Charlottesville happened? Hmm. So we have that. So Charlie Robertson is one of them. And so now they're doing everything to pray for Charlie Robertson and his family that he's able to whatever. Charlie Kirk is now moving to the back burner of the conversation because you can't blame the alt or the left for it because it's the alt right that's doing it. So it's basically the MAGA hat people are eating each other alive. You know, it's dismantling from the core of it, from the core of it. And so there's that. So Charlie Kirk, again, now we'll go back talk about Charlie Kirk. So Charlie Kirk founded the Turning Point USA, and it promotes Christian nationalism and anti-woke rhetoric. He is not a Groyper, but he does if they do attend his audience or his his audiences when he goes to debate, they show up there. Sometimes they even challenge him with their own facts to try to get him to answer those questions or debate. And so there's a couple times that he just didn't debate it because he didn't want to go in that place. So Charlie Kirk kind of would it be a gatekeeper kind of thing? You know, like what they'd say about Oprah Winfrey being a gatekeeper to the left or whatever. Like Charlie Kirk would be that for the right. Maybe he's a gatekeeper. He's the first person you come into contact with and you start listening. And so he's probably the one that's sucking you in. And then you go in and you get in further and you're with the Groypers and Nick Fuentes and Milo, that guy, I can't pronounce his last name, the white nationalist, anti-Semitic, misogynistic, all of those. So then you get into that stuff. So that is kind of what is happening. So last night I sat in a live in TikTok and I listened to, I was in two lives. One live, they were kind of watering down the Nick Fuentes involvement. Like the alt-right, like, oh no, yeah, that they're a part of us, they're with us. So there's this effort to really make aligning pro-pally with some of the Nick Fuentes stuff or whatever. But anyways, it's gross. So there's a group that is trying to control that. And so then I listened to that for a little bit and then I journeyed on and I came upon another one of my the people that I follow, his live. And so I was in that and I was in that for a long time because he was just playing all the different clips of things and then talk about it, play it, talk about it, play it, talk about it. And so I was in that listening. And so one of the things that came through that is there is a journalist, and then I'm gonna forget his name. Darn it. He is very well known too. What is his name? He's a Jewish guy too. I think his name was like Matthew or Matt. Anyways, so he's a very well-known guy, and keeps showing me Chris Matthews. I don't want Chris Matthews. He's a very well-known journalist, and wait, now I can. Oh shoot, I can't grab it. But anyways, this guy He is talking about Charlie Kirk. He's being interviewed. Let me say, I think he does the Gray Zone. I think he's the author or the guy behind the Gray Zone. But anyway, so he was doing this interview, and I just probably should leave it alone. I'm still trying to find him. But he was doing this interview, and so I was listening to that, and it was really interesting to hear him. Matt Bloomberg Bloom. I am gonna be like that all day, probably. Anyways, that guy. So he was talking about Charlie Kirk, and so Charlie Kirk. This is like in the news now that people know that Charlie Kirk was afraid that Israel was going to Mossad was going to assassinate him. He was getting a lot of threats because he came out and said that there was a genocide occurring, and he had this big platform debate and the youth. And so Charlie Kirk is like millions of youth followers, millions. And so the threat from Charlie Kirk to expose Israel and their genocide and their control. So he was getting disenfranchised with Donald Trump. Donald Trump was saying, like he's doing America or Israel's bidding in our government. And Charlie Kirk opposed that. And Candace Owens comes out. So after Charlie Kirk is unalived, like Netanyahu does like 3 different posts. He schedules an interview, everything to talk about Charlie Kirk, like deflect about a letter that he sent to Netanyahu. So Candace Owens comes out and says, hey, that's my best friend. Read the letter. So like she knows what the letter says. Read the letter. So I don't know if she has a copy of the letter. I don't know, but that's what she's saying to Netanyahu. Read the letter. And so there is like probably going to be a melting pot of stuff happening, maybe an explosion within MAGA. What's going to happen over this? And Charlie Kirk was also saying, release the Epstein files. He was advocating that. Nick Fuentes and his group, the Groypers, are actively saying, release the Epstein files. And so they're all feeling betrayed by Donald Trump, who told them he would release. Mom, I like my nose. Right here, that he would release the Epstein files, and then he's not. So there's a whole bunch of people that are getting upset about that. And so like we see even like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's coming out like about these things. But like when we think about it, like why is it necessarily she's coming out because, or is it this America first? Because she says that, remember, she told Donald Trump, I am MAGA. Don't cross me. I am MAGA. And so she's affiliated with Nick Fuentes and the America First movement. So it's not necessarily that she's coming and, whatever. It's because they oppose Israel, and they all everybody sees that Israel controls everything here, decisions. And they're making their comments. Everybody's saying that if I am unalived, I am, if they find me, I am not suicidal. I am not any of these things. So they're coming out and saying these things. And so why should Toksa Hour be even talking about this to you guys? We are surrounded by MAGA people. We are. And as they try to push this narrative that it was the left, that put us in danger. We are in danger. They put us in danger. Our reservations are geographically surrounded by rural areas where alt-right sentiment is growing. Even on the reservation, we have MAGA hat people on the reservation. We need to be concerned about this because those MAGA hats are not about us. Even though they're tribally enrolled members, they are not about us. They are about the America First agenda, which is not even about us. And we need to know that. And we should be calling them all out. We have, many of them are even like employed with the tribal government. Give them contracts. We do all those things. And they are not about us. They are perfectly fine with our demise. They are perfectly fine with our demise. And we need to be alarmed, and we need to be concerned, and we need to be paying attention to it. Mind control is serious, and it's happening through our internet. So when we're saying, where are you, moms? Where are you, Uchi? Where are we? Are we allowing what games are they on? What are they doing? Who are they interacting with? Because you become isolated in the internet space. So if we are living in a traumatized community, if we are living so traumatically, it is easy to get our children into these isolated spaces and to say blame them. It's their fault. Blame them. And as parents and grandparents, if we're just being all whatever, ignoring the situation, we are a part of that problem. And it even makes me think about what is happening with our youth on the reservation and their willingness to just use firearms, their willingness to just think that life doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your life don't matter. My life don't matter. Nobody's life matters because they have disconnected our youth from who they are. So when we say life is waka, life is sacred, life is all of these things, they don't get it because they are too much into their internet. Some people will grow out of the Groyper movement when they're in their 20s, maybe middle 20s. They start growing out of it, but many of them do not. The majority do not grow out of it, and they stay in it. And then they're doing things. So this is one of the reasons, like when the CIA, everybody wants to spy on us, it's because of these things. But these things are actually affiliated and associated to the CIA and the Mossad. Like all of these guys and what they're doing and manipulating. So there's a counter manipulation to their manipulation. And then there's just us, average people just logging in to pass the time. And so we might need to be getting to a place where we just start shutting it down because there's things that are happening, limiting. I used to do this with my daughter on my computer because we didn't have smartphones then. On my computer, I could give her X amount of time a week, and I did. And she chose how she wanted to use it. She could use it all up in one day, and that's it. She's not on the internet until her time comes up again. You could still do that on your computers and in your technology. You can shut people down. We started turning our Wi-Fi box off. Start doing things to get our children back into it. like line them back up, get responsibility. So the longer we allow them to stay in those platforms, the more desensitized they become, and then the more oppositional they become. And opposition isn't a bad thing all the time, because it's a human instinct to be oppositional, because it's a sensing, like we can sense that energy. So I'm going to oppose it, so like it's a threat to me, so I'm going to oppose it. So we really need to be thinking about what we're doing, because the reaction to him, and there's still people that are getting sold the message that it is the left that killed Charlie Kirk. It was not the left. It was not the left. There's even people that believe that Tyler Robinson didn't even do it, that he's a cover. Like he's the fall guy for it. That's who's gonna take it. Because it's probably that guy in the front that went like that, right? That did it. And so the active way, and so then they say Ben Shapiro is now, who is a Jewish man, is now the one will be taking over Turning Point USA. And so they want to control the narrative for that youth movement. So if your kids are involved in that, you should start trying to get them out of it. They're brainwashed. And that's one of the things that they say with Charlie Kirk, is that he started seeing, and Candace Owens would say that, like, no, he's slowly, he'll get there, like all of them. And Candace Owens even says that herself, like what happened to her, like she's realizing, like she's agreeing more with different people on the left about these issues than on the right, because she sees how they were manipulated. And it takes me back to this thing that I was talking about. Remember when Yellowstone was on TV and everybody was watching it? We were all watching Yellowstone. Well, on Yellowstone, there's a scene, and it's in, I think, season 2. I think it's season 2, first scene, or season 1, first scene. Anyways, there's a scene, or the episode is all around the loss of John. What was his name? John. I want to call him Dunbar, but that ain't even it. What was it? Dunbar? What was their names? What was their names on Yellowstone? Darn it. I don't remember what their names were. Anyways, so there's this thing, Yellowstone. I'm gonna ask Yellowstone series. John Dutton. Okay, the Dutton family. That's who it is. So there's a scene where John Dutton's oldest son is killed. And then there's witnesses to it. And then the youngest son says I believe he says he confesses to his dad he did it because he he killed his brother before they could take him. And so John Dutton, there was a witness to watching Casey Dutton do that. So John Dutton goes to the pastor and says to the pastor, "Remember, I helped you. And I need your help now." And so that pastor goes to the pulpit, to the sermon box in church, and the person that had witnessed, he was talking to him, and that guy knew it, but telling him it was, like what had happened was the devil's work. And sometimes you have to protect your family, your flock from the devil. And so the way they framed that in that church, that witness then turns around and says he don't remember seeing anything, and that he like it was a misunderstanding of what he saw. And so in Yellowstone, Tyler Sheridan was telling us how this is happening, what's happening to our youth, and how they're using the evangelical church to do it, to brainwash people into believing that the other is out there and is harming our people, our family. So they hide the accountabilities. So we have to know that we're in these things of psychological warfare and cultural warfare. So they're asking us to just be one of them, but we can't be one of them because we're not white supremacists, like we're not white people. We're never going to be a part of them. So even all of this, and I can name the families on this reservation that are MAGA. Even them, they will never be a part of it unless they completely denounce that they are Lakota. And if they denounce that they're Lakota, they should disenroll and they should move away, get off our reservation. That's what should happen, but it won't. And those guys will never, ever be anybody significant within the alt-right movement unless they do all of those things, because they're tied right now to tribal enrollment. Even if you go and you look at Mike Rounds, you're not going to find him because he disenrolled. He needed to do that in order to be a Republican. He could not have his Dakota ancestry. So they have to whitewash it out, get it out. But you look at his actions as a politician, like he goes to Sisseton, he even uses the helicopter, flies in powwow time, he's there. He does those things. And everybody in Sisseton knows, like, yeah, that he's a tribal member, or he's, part of them or whatever. So the things that people will do for this political power and how it brings this big demise. So that's basically what is happening right now. Is like we're watching them implode. We're watching MAGA implode. And all of this stuff, like we need to be careful and we need to be know what we're doing. Because they'll use everything. So like right now, you say anything online, they're coming after you. They're gonna come after you. If you say anything wrong about Charlie Kirk, because people have. There's a professor at USD that got terminated, or he's on suspension right now, but he's going to be terminated by the South Dakota Board of Regents for speaking about Charlie Kirk's death. And like, I don't know, like, I think from a Lakota perspective, we think all life is sacred and stuff. And then you watch that stuff. I don't know if it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate because they say he was coming around. And so if Charlie Kirk came around and had the understanding, his followers would have too. And that was millions and millions and millions of youth understanding the betrayal of MAGA, understanding the betrayal of Donald Trump, understanding the betrayal of all of these politicians. Charlie Kirk, he had a lot of money. A lot of money came to him. And he was so powerful politically that he influenced policy. He influenced policy. That's who Charlie Kirk was. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. About on September 10th is when he was assassinated. And shortly after he was assassinated, the Democrats on the Senate floor tried to force a vote to open or release the Epstein files. Don Thune came out against that and the GOP. Why? Probably because there's no Charlie Kirk to hold them to the fire. There's a Nick Fuentes, but no Charlie Kirk. Mike Grounds voted to block the release of the Epstein files. This is still happening at the House. So if you have any need, I guess, I've done it. You should call Dusty Johnson. Tell him to vote to release the files. That's what I don't understand. Like the MAGA hats in South Dakota, the alt-right in South Dakota, like they're still holding strong to Trump. They're still holding strong to all of this. They haven't broken through. And so they do see like Charlie Kirk as unfortunate that he's come that way, because the MAGA hats in South Dakota strongly support Israel, and they believe everything that Netanyahu says and does. They believe that. We have MAGA hats on this reservation that believe in the genocide of another people, and those MAGA hats are enrolled members of the Oglala Sioux tribe, where their own ancestors were genocided. That's where all this is. Having those conversations, getting real with people. So what are we gonna do about it? What do we do? It has to start in your homes. So I'm just gonna tell you, it has to start in your homes, and you have to have the courage to stand to your children and get them in line. You need to get them away from places and where their minds can be. I'm like all like, geez, all of this stuff, rabbit holes yesterday. That's where it took me, all the rabbit holes. So there's something that we should probably consider as we're thinking about all of how this is playing out with the alt-right. Oftentimes we will put it under the disguise of debate. So we should be thinking that they are not just arguing online, but they are recruiting for a war of ideas, and sometimes real war. It's up to us to raise our warriors of peace and protectors of our land and defenders of truth. And so it's really important that we do that. So that's it for Toksa Hour. I want to thank you guys for joining. I encourage you to like, share, subscribe. YouTube can be shared on any other platform. So if you would do that, I'd appreciate it. And we will see you next week as we see what unfolds this week. Jesus, life on this planet is just all dramatic these days. So anyways, you guys be safe, be good to each other, and know that no matter what, there's always opportunity to change and to improve the lot of your life. But it takes you to do it and be in charge.